and I have see, this is a podcast, so like hopefully for like 65% of people, it's not going to matter. But I've gone ahead and blurred my background because I don't know if you can tell by this general like dark shape right here. I haven't slept in my own bed. I've only been home for 2 days, but I haven't slept in my own bed the whole time I've been here because it currently has drawers on it that are filled with clothes and things.
Yeah.
So my room, this is my childhood room. It is a mess. I could touch both sides of the wall with my arms if I wanted to.
It's funny that you've blurred it because we've done episodes where you're in your childhood room before.
Right. I don't. It's not like I'm worried about people seeing my location. I just don't want to be judged for my room being a mess, which you
Okay,
can already
but
tell, like as I move around, that it is. So
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't really matter.
So it does, but it's also just been on camera before, so it doesn't really. It's
Yeah,
been a
right.
mess previously, so I don't know why.
But I don't think it's ever been this much of a mess.
Okay. No, you know what? That's
You
cool
know?
with me, man.
Thanks, dude. I also changed it in the video settings, and I'm not gonna go mid call and change it back. So
Okay.
it's just not gonna happen.
I was wondering. I was thinking the other day. I thought about you specifically when I was thinking about this. I was like,
Oh, thank you.
I was having an argument in my head with myself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I want to say that this is not a situation that I care about or am involved in any real significant way. But there's a big debate: boneless chicken wings or chicken wings that are bone full.
Mm-hmm.
And I am on the side. I'm on the side of the boneless chicken wings, and I wanted to know what style of chicken wing you prefer.
Because
I didn't know.
So I hate. No, that's okay. Can I ask what you think I'm gonna say before I say it?
I think you're gonna say with the bone, because you're a naturalist.
First of all, I can't believe you would say that about me. Not
you are
that
though. If society, if everyone, like if it was just totally normal to be like naked all the time, I don't think you would ever wear clothes.
That is not true.
I think it is.
I don't think it is.
And I don't think you can say that because you don't. It's not real, so it doesn't. We don't know.
You know what? You're right.
If
We
you
have no
were
idea.
raised in those circumstances, you know what I'm saying?
Right, but if I was raised in that circumstance, I would just be a different guy.
The weenus is beautiful.
You can see people's weenuses all the time. They're always out.
Not when they're
Look,
wearing
here's
long
mine.
sleeves.
That's true. You know what? You're right.
I live in upstate New York.
I'm wearing short sleeves.
I live in
You're
upstate
wearing-
New York where it's fucking winter year round. Okay, I never see
know for a
people's
fact
weenuses.
right now you are wearing a short sleeve shirt because you're wearing your Nick Chubb Browns jersey.
That's because I'm in the home though. When I'm out of
That's
the
fair.
home,
That's fair.
people are covering up because they're worried about violating like religious
People's
rules
privacy and like
stuff.
seeing everyone's weenus and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you get
Yeah,
weird when
you
you
know, I
see
get
people's
that.
weenuses.
Yeah, it does make me feel.
It's jarring.
It does make me feel some type of way.
Yeah, but anyway,
that being
where
said-
do you say where do you stand on the chicken wing debate?
That being said, I hate to. You're not going to be too disappointed. You're going to be like, yeah, of course he fucking says this. But like, I kind of, if I had to pick one, I
And you
would
do.
pick boneless.
Yeah.
But I think there's a time and place for both.
Why? Because I was doing this is like a shower argument for me where I was like, why would you ever want the one? I had never thought about this before. I don't know why.
Right.
I was like, why would you ever pick the ones with bones?
So, do you mind if I interrupt really quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Keep in mind, you don't care about this argument and you don't feel strongly about it in any way. That was right. That's what you said.
It's not that I don't feel strongly about it. It's
You
that
just don't care.
I don't. It doesn't have any effect on my life. But people who are like rewards members at Buffalo Wild Wings might care about this,
Right.
They might have more sort of stake in this, more chicken, I suppose. What I'm like, in my mind, this is how I framed the argument to myself. It was like,
Sure.
Instead of chicken wings, imagine you can have like, I don't know, you can have a car that works, or you can have a car that has spikes on the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just feels like you would choose the one without the inconvenience.
The one without the spikes, right?
You know what I mean?
Yes. So I guess that's what I mean when I said I like bone. I do prefer boneless, but like, how about this? My favorite wing place that I've ever been to does not do boneless wings, and I really like. They have good ass chicken wings. Like they're amazing.
Oh, this is okay. Hold on.
So
this is a side of the argument that I didn't even conjure. This is why we need multiple perspectives in the world. You're saying, and let me make your argument for you because I don't like when you talk. You're saying that there's a quality difference between, like, we're saying boneless wings maybe on average are less good than wings with bones. There's a difference there.
I think that's not what I meant, but I will agree with what you have to say. Yes,
what were you going to say?
That's true. Well, I just meant like it's just happenstance that the wing place that I really like, which is in fucking, oh my God, what is it? It's not Akron. Around here, it's by the Target, whatever. It's like sort of in the Bainbridge area.
Yeah.
But that place only does bone-in wings. Now, if they had the same sauces and the same wings and they were boneless, I would get those every time. Like, I would rather have the wing without the bone, obviously. I mean, you're right. Like, I would rather drive the car without the spikes in the seat. Duh. But those wings are just so fucking good.
But is there truth to the fact that boneless wings are on average lesser in quality than bone-full wings?
I think yes.
Because I haven't had enough chicken wings in my life, I think, to weigh in on that.
I would say there's just like a better quality to the meat in a bone-full wing.
I don't know what else to call it, right? Like it's...
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Then like a bone... yeah, a bone-full wing.
It's full
of regular
bone.
chicken wing.
It
is filled with bone. The wing that comes off the bird and is put in the fryer or the fucking pan or whatever, however they do it.
Which it also raises the question, how do they get the bone out?
Well, I'm pretty sure boneless wings are not chicken wings without bones. They just like take the chicken and they like make it into the shape of... It's like a chicken nugget.
Yeah, yeah. But it'd be interesting if there was
maybe they raise chickens with no bones.
They just have
them into
flesh piles. I guess it's not flesh, it's like feathers.
Yeah, they're more like caterpillars, you know?
Oh, they're like fuzzy caterpillars. Well, they have bones, don't they?
Do they?
I don't know. Worms don't have bones, right?
It's going to be tough for me to be on Jamie duty today because I got to hold the mic with my hand.
It's fine, yeah.
I can't fact check that.
I know snakes have bones, but I don't think...
That's true.
Worms don't have bones.
Worms definitely don't have bones.
Flies, do flies have bones? I'm trying to think of small things that have bones. Like mice are small and they have bones.
Mice have bones for sure. Hamsters, they have bones.
I don't know if
small.
Flies have bones because you crush them so easily.
We're also just so much big. I mean, I think you're right. I don't think they have bones. I think their skeletal structures are probably made of keratin. They're not bone, if I had to guess. But that's a guess, not a fact.
They have teeth bodies.
Keep that one in mind. Yeah, their bodies are made of teeth.
Because teeth are keratin, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like I know... I just watched a Tearzu video on this. I know, like, scorpions, they're in the same family. Like, they're both arachnids, which spiders are also arachnids, and they don't have bones. And scorpions, like, outer... Like, bug armor is made of keratin. So I feel like their bodies already know... They already know how to make keratin. So maybe...
It's like the first boss in Pikmin 3.
Yes. But far less efficient. He's made of crystals.
We don't need rock Pikmin to kill flies, which is kind of the difference.
Well, maybe if we... Well, no. Olimar's like an inch tall or something like that.
I think he's like a quarter or some shit.
He's like yay big?
Yeah.
Well, even if... I feel, like, you know, he's small, but he's definitely still bigger than a fly.
I don't know. I guess he is bigger than a fly. I think it depends on the fly. Like, there's some fat-ass flies.
Oh, yeah. Olimar versus horsefly, he loses.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And it's flying. Olimar can't fly.
He could fly with the winged Pikmin.
If he's got no winged Pikmin though, if he hasn't reached the autumn area yet, then he's kind of fucked.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of what it's called.
What is it called? Shit. I was trying to get there. Oh,
I think it's called Tropic Thunder. It's
I can only get like Garden of Hope, and I don't remember. I don't know.
That's the iconic one, and also it's a Smash Bros. Stage, so it's like, oh, it's you've got 2 points of reference there to think about it.
Is it a Smash Bros? Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, the one with the ball board is called Garden of Hope.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show.
So essentially what I'm trying to say is that if they made a hybrid wing that was made of keratin and you could crunch the bones in your mouth and then not have to like deal with them, maybe that would be the best wing. We should debone chickens, I think, is what I'm trying to say.
Debone chickens.
We should turn them into invertebrates.
That's what the government did. They deboned birds.
They deboned us, bro.
The birds aren't real.
Yeah, they're drones.
They're drones that spy on us, and they charge on the power lines.
Is that why they're always up there?
Yeah, I mean, why else?
Why else?
There's a million places in the sky to hide. You know what I'm saying? It's convenient that the one place that has electricity is where the birds go.
Right.
Because they got to charge.
Maybe like all the... Right, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. We have wireless charging. That's technology that I know about.
Yeah. They have the metal coil that radiates electromagnetic fields, and it seeps into their batteries in their hearts.
Birds have bones. That I know.
Well, not anymore because they're all drones. I guess unless metal is bones.
So they're like Wolverine.
No.
Bones are metal.
He has metal bones?
Yeah. Or I guess technically they're coated in metal. If Ethan ever watches this, he's going to correct me to make sure that I'm saying the correct thing. And I know that he does because the other day he was like, dude, that episode about the strip club was really funny. I was like, thanks, man.
That's funny, man.
I'm glad you liked it.
Oh, the comic book nerds are so... I didn't know anyone in school that read comic books.
Me either.
And maybe that's just because I went to like, Catholic school where they're like, fucking Green Lantern is the devil,
Right. There's another lantern. His name is Red Lantern, and he's actually Satan.
Yeah.
I think there is a Red Lantern.
There is a Red Lantern, and he is evil. I'm pretty sure.
See? I know what I'm talking about.
But when the Red Lantern and the Green Lantern come together on the same night on December 25th, it's everyone's favorite holiday.
They make fucking Christmas lantern, don't they?
They make Christmas, dude. And they fucking... Rudolph comes from wherever he lives. And they hang out, and they change the world,
And they deliver presents to every home in all of only America.
That's not true. Christmas is everywhere, dude.
Sure it is.
What do you mean sure it is? It is everywhere.
Right, yeah.
Everyone does Christmas in fucking Europe. Europe's a Christmas place.
I don't think there's anywhere that's not. Well, so I can't
Japan
say there's
Christmas.
nowhere. Japan does love Christmas. There are a lot of places that do Christmas. There has to be somewhere that they don't celebrate Christmas, though, right?
Probably like Tibet. Like it's all like... isolated, sort of middle of the nowhere, where they have like their own deeply
they probably have like
integrated culture.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they have something similar, right? Some sort of like, what would Buddha do for Christmas? I guess he's not really big into giving gifts.
Do they have a holiday? I don't think they do.
They have no holidays.
I mean, like, I'm sure they have like a day where they're like, yo, that guy who sat under a tree was like freaking dope. And
surely
shit.
They know about Martin Luther King, right? Like, he's so cool.
I know. Yeah, India does Martin Luther King Jr. Day every year.
Come on, man. But they don't do Christmas, no.
They also do President's Day, but like for George Washington.
Right. They do it for him just out of respect, not because they care about him, but they're like, yeah, I remember he did a lot for America, and they did things for us, I guess.
Yeah.
We should just start celebrating other countries' holidays. That would be so much fun.
Yeah, dude, I think like next year, or I guess this year, we should do like a big Kwanzaa thing, you know?
Dude, I was thinking the same thing.
I don't even know what you do for Kwanzaa straight up. I know like Hanukkah has the thing with the
menorah.
candles, the menorah, and
I
you have
got you,
the
don't worry.
dreidel, and you play. It's like poker, but like you don't gamble, so it's not fun.
No, it's exactly like poker.
it's
I still can't believe it took
it's
me
more
so
like
long of us
Yahtzee.
playing mahjong for me to realize that mahjong is just gambling.
Yeah, it's just gambling.
Yeah, I didn't know how awesome it was.
Yeah, it's because all forms of gambling are awesome. You know,
Well, but like when I think of people who play mahjong, I think of like
it
the
is
elderly.
80%
wisdom
of people who play
and-
mahjong are 80-year-old Japanese men.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if it's men, I think that maybe changed it a little bit. If we're thinking of old Japanese men, but if I'm thinking of like just old people in general and their wealth of knowledge and wisdom,
Mm.
I would think that maybe some of them would think that they're above gambling. So it's nice to know that they're not.
No, I gambling is the one. It's like the great unifier. Everyone loves gambling.
Yeah, that is true.
You know what I'm saying? I was reading.
You love seeing someone hit
uh,
it big. It doesn't even matter if it's you or not.
It's true. I was reading articles about like Russia. There's a, what the fuck is it called? It's one of like the big sports betting, the websites that sponsors
DraftKings.
like no, because it's a European thing. Like they sponsor
then
all of
count
the
me out.
big like soccer clubs. It's like one bet X or something like that. I forget.
United Arab Emirates.
UAE Airlines.
Yeah.
Which always confused me why they like do advertisements for airlines on like soccer games, because it's like
They just have a lot of money.
I'm never like when I have to get a flight, I'm never like, should I do Southwest or should it be like, it's just the flight that is most convenient for me.
Yeah,
It's not like I don't have an
and has
option.
the shortest layover.
Yes. Always. It's never. But anyway, there's like this like insanely big gambling company that's like sponsoring all these big like soccer clubs and stuff like that. And they have like that you can like bet on like just random people playing sports. Like there'll just be like a live stream of like a bunch of like teenagers playing basketball in like Yakutsk, and you can bet on it.
So it's like is it polymarket? Is that the site that you can just bet like on random events for?
Polymarket is the one where it's like ceasefire with Iran before July, 50% odds, you know?
Yeah, and you get to bet.
Yeah. Which is a real thing that because I was on Polymarket the other day because I was looking at it because it's so interesting to me.
It is, yeah, because the world is just becoming like one big joke.
Yeah.
So we like to sort of stop taking everything seriously, which I, for one, think is something that's happening.
Yeah.
I should probably be more upset about it, but, you know, it's hard to not be.
It's all, will the one big beautiful bill get past the Senate and stuff like that. It's very strange. But I was like there's these like weird sports that they play. Like there was one that was like, it's like air hockey, but basketball.
How does that work?
I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a sort of, you know, in Rocket League, they have some of those maps that are like weird and bumpy and stuff like that. It kind of looks like that. And they use like pegs in the ground that like pop the ball up. And you have to try and get it into the other guy's net and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's fucking weird, dude.
So is the ball, maybe this is a stupid question, is the ball on the ground?
Yeah.
And you...
I mean, like it's
do you
in
hit
like
it
a
with,
table.
like a thing? Yeah, yeah.
You
But,
like
do you
have
hit it
buttons.
with like a puck like you do with air hockey? Or is it like 1v1, what are those called? Dude, oh my God, I'm having a huge brain fart right now. You know when you, like at an arcade, you pull back pinball.
Pinball.
It's like 1v1 pinball. Like you have like the triggers and you can like hit, you can like flick the ball like
you
that.
have like buttons that like make the game board like shoot the ball up and forward and stuff like that.
I'm just going to share this because it'll be a fun, embarrassing fact, but the only reason I could remember what it was called because I thought about Waluigi.
That is
I was like, what is
sad.
that fucking Mario Kart course?
Yeah.
What's that shit called?
You ever played that? What's the Windows pinball? Space Cadet 3D pinball or whatever. I used to play that on my grandpa Denny. He had an old like Windows XP, and I would always play pinball on that. In between him trying to, like, his whole thing was like he would like go to yard sales and stuff like that, and he would like buy old shit, and then he would like refurbish it, and then just sell it on eBay for like 10% more money.
It's really not like that much profit. But
no, it was. I mean, it was his side hustle. He's like retired, you know.
That's kind of cool, I guess.
He worked for the RTA for like 30 years or some shit like that.
Like the public transport service?
Yeah. He was a bus driver and shit.
That's actually pretty cool.
And I think he did some office stuff too. I don't really remember, but that was his thing. I remember one of the items specifically was like he bought like an old tennis ball canister. And he like like literally a plastic container that like you would get if you buy tennis balls.
Right.
And I remember being like 6 or 7 or something like that, and he bought it. And I was like, "What are you gonna do with that?" And he's like, "I'm gonna sell it." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Who's gonna to who? Like, what do you mean?"
Someone.
I think someone bought it, which is crazy. Cause like it's just maybe it was like a special.
Maybe it was like I would say like a limited production, you know.
Maybe it's like the Mario Odyssey
Federer.
cereal or something.
Fuck, dude.
I don't know. It's like Coca-Cola brand tennis ball holder. It was the lamest thing ever to me as a kid, and I guess still now it's like one of the lamest things ever.
I don't know. I mean, I think it sounds pretty cool.
But that's what he did. I don't know. Retirement's weird, I think.
Yeah. Well, I know I was making a joke. I went out of town this past weekend with my family to Maryland, and my grandma drove with us, and we got back to her house, and I was like, well, you want to hang out this week since you're retired and I'm unemployed? She was like, sure, sounds great. And I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
That's fire, man. Oh, dude, retirement's fucking awesome. I can't wait, dude.
Yeah. Well, right now I'm kind of more excited at the prospect of like getting health insurance. But I still have to wait for like another 2 years because I was like, let's do more school. That was so fun that I'd like to do it again, you know?
Yeah. It's just crazy that like, you know, it's crazy that there's an idea that like you stop eventually. Like it almost feels more natural to just keep going until you can't. But a lot of people stop even though they still could.
Yeah. Well, I think also like if you are lucky enough and you have enough money, maybe you can start following your dreams when you're like 70, you know? Maybe you always wanted to be a DJ, but you didn't have the time.
70-year-old DJ.
They exist, man.
What 2 songs are they mashing together? Fucking Elvis Presley and...
It's like Elvis and like Grover Washington Jr.'s just the 2 of us. It doesn't fit at all, but like...
No,
it goes
like,
a little bit harder.
You have to make the octaves all weird to like get them to like smooth transition.
Yeah, exactly.
God damn, man. What's that? What's
like,
that? You know, old guy on? You see the old guy who does stand up?
No.
And he's just so fucking old. And he's like,
is he funny or is he just old?
I don't know. His whole thing is like one-liners, which isn't really. I think there are some great one-liners, but it's like it gets old pretty fast because you're like, I want like a story.
I need a story.
You got to give me. He's giving me the chicken wings without bones, and sometimes you want the bones.
Oh, sometimes you do want the bones.
Sometimes you want the bones. I don't.
Right, but maybe others do.
I like the slot machine.
Yeah,
which kind of sounds like slot machine. I don't even think about. We're relating all the topics together in this like sort of.
It's really hard to not go back to gambling, you know, because that's just again the great universal tool.
But there's the other guy whose whole thing was one-liners. Mitch Hedgeberg, I forget his name. Hedgeberg, something like that. I don't. The one-liners just wear thin so fast. I feel like,
Yeah, not as cool as Gianmarco, my goat.
especially if your whole thing is like being old, which is like fine.
I was waiting for you to be like, well, he's old, so like being racist or sexist or something.
I mean, no, like some people are racist. I guess I get like old people have this like, yeah, to us, like a lot of old people are racist, but if we're being honest, it's just like 50-50 kind of.
Yeah, I feel like
there's some
there's
old
some
people who
aren't
are
too
just
bad.
like they're just products of their environment.
Yeah, some of them are just grumpy. It's not like they're outwardly
I would be
hateful
grumpy
towards any
too.
certain group. Yeah, if I was old and like my hip hurt all the time, I'd probably be like, ah.
And you got to do all this paperwork to like get Social Security and stuff. It's
Yeah, and
annoying.
get ready to die. And everyone's like, hey, can I have your shit? And you're like, can you shut the fuck up?
I think that's
Leave me
honestly
alone.
like your one right to complain on this earth is when you're retired. Because you're like, I did all this shit. I shouldn't have to.
Yeah, like leave me be.
You should fucking cater to me because I did all the stuff that I was supposed to do and now I'm retired.
Yeah.
So shut up and bring me my damn coffee or whatever.
Give me my check.
And don't make me do fucking paper. The last thing you want to do as an old guy is paperwork.
Right, especially that's like the worst point that your eyes have ever been.
Yeah,
in your life.
you can't read. You have arthritis, so your signature looks like shit. You know
right.
what I'm saying?
Thank God they invented DocuSign.
DocuSign changed the game for sure.
It did.
I mean, it did.
It's actually such like a simple thing to think about. It's like, well, yeah, duh. Why can't I just sign this online?
Yeah.
But I have to write out my name. But now I can sign my lease even though I am 3,000 miles away.
It's like
Pretty
Linus Torvalds being more known for GitHub than Linux. Linux, like, arguably the more interesting thing, and
He
like
developed
it
both
does so
GitHub
much stuff.
and Linux.
Yes. I think the
What do
story
you know?
is he made GitHub so that it would be faster to make Linux,
That's actually so fucking funny.
which is really funny.
What a Chad move.
But GitHub changed the way that programmers procrastinate forever.
Yeah, which is beautiful in a
Which
way.
is awesome.
I have no idea because I've been on GitHub like probably 3 times.
Yeah. For those who don't know, GitHub is like you push code. It's like a code collaboration tool. You push code to like a master sort of root database. And then if you want to if you need to work on an update, you just pull the code and you write your own, you work on it on your own, and then you push it back to the main thing when you're done.
To the master ball.
And it's about version control and stuff. But he was just
And
like, I need I need a better thing to make other
so he
stuff.
just made it.
Which is fire. Sometimes I think about that, and it's like you see people like make insane mods for like video games that no one gives a shit about.
Yeah.
And you're
And it's
like,
just like, oh, I just wanted to do this.
if that person like was really interested in like biomedical sciences, they could be like curing cancer right now. But instead, they're like figuring out how to save one frame on level 4-2 in the original Super Mario Brothers.
And you know what, man? That's part of the beauty of being a human being.
And both of them are beautiful, but one of them is arguably more important.
One of them is arguably way more helpful for other people.
Yeah.
But it's like my favorite Baldur's Gate mod of all time, Steve's Fireball. And the description of the mod is just, I coded this for my friend Steve because he's bad at the game. This is a fireball unlocked at level 1 that does like 200 damage.
Yeah.
I was like, man, what a great friend this guy is.
Which, it's funny to be bad at a game that's just like cast fire, but you can just cast the regular fireball. And it does less damage, and the battle takes a little bit longer. But like,
right,
that's the fun.
But like,
of the
I can
game.
understand. Like I remember getting into Baldur's Gate. I was like, this shit is like kind of hard.
Yeah, there's a lot to. If you're not a seasoned gamer, it's certainly not baby's first video game, right? That's like Animal Crossing and stuff.
Oh, I love baby's first video game.
Stardew Valley core.
Oh.
There is like an accessibility there that like, like
You
no
just don't
one's
get
first
everywhere else.
video game should be Call of Duty, even though like it is.
No. Actually, I think that's like fun. I feel like it's pretty simple.
I mean, it's like complicated though. Like you have 2 control sticks. I think
Yeah.
like if you hand my stepdad a controller and he said this to me previously.
Exact sentence.
He was like, the two control sticks, I just don't know. I get too overwhelmed. There's too much stuff, you know? And it's like learning fucking piano. Like you have to learn the names of the notes and you have to learn how to relate to each other. And then all of that switches if you want to play Mario Kart instead. All the buttons do different shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
And the stick is just gone. Yeah, I guess I do take that for granted.
You know, like it's a natural language to us, but to other people, it's like...
I've been playing video games for like 12 years now.
It's like looking at the Rosetta Stone. Like it's this foundational sort of thing, but it's like, I don't know. What am I supposed to get out of it? I don't speak Greek
Break
or
a window?
Latin or anything, you know? Or
Right.
whatever the third one was, French or some shit.
Ew. I hope not.
I don't remember. Which it's crazy that there was like a stone that did that.
Yeah, right. That just had all the languages.
How did people learn languages
Magic
before Duolingo? Like think about it. You had to go to Greece. You had to like venture through the mountains and shit, and you find some guy who has like 1,000 sheep around him. You have to wade your way through this like pool of sheep. And then you're like, "Hello, man. What's going on?" And the guy
goes, what?
The guy responds in an alien language that you've never heard. Like, how do you... That's beyond me, man.
I feel like it just had to have been enough people. No, that doesn't make any sense. I was gonna say like if your parents spoke like two different languages, but how would they have gotten together if
right?
You know, they didn't speak the same language.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like just having technology has been big.
Yeah, the wheel was big.
No, I mean more like the age of the internet.
Well, yeah.
Like obviously there were books and, you know, like I guess
scrolls.
Like both books, just like traditional books and like interactive like workbooks or whatever that you could always use to try and learn a language. But having the internet to actually just be able to directly translate, you know, phrases somewhat accurately, with minimal, you know, errors now, has obviously been huge for people trying to learn a language.
But even if you get like 80% of the way there, it's like people understand you, you know?
Yeah. Someone could walk up to me like, what that? And I'd be like, oh, you know, can.
Except he's talking about the band Can, in which case you have to go, well, how do I explain this?
no
they
music.
Like guitar, and it's like drums.
No.
You're doing like the hand motion.
That's another classic thing.
Hands.
Charades. Maybe that's how languages used to be taught.
I think so. You gotta like draw shit, you know? But it's hard to draw shit when all you have is like stone tablets. So really, paper
or if it's like
was
a
the
concept.
Big thing. Like idea, like how do you communicate the word
easy
idea?
It's easy to be like, this is an apple, and people will be like, oh, well, I call that like a manzana, and it's like, okay, well, we get that.
I think that might be easier than we might imagine, because there is sort of like across humans, like we all kind of independently figured out what an arrow was. You know what I mean? I mean like a directional arrow, not like a bow and arrow.
Yes, yeah.
Like we all know triangle and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. Like I think some of it is more intuitive than just like
right. Well,
plotting,
those are like also
doing the dictionary conversion of every word.
Yeah. Well, and those are like symbols, you know, like that can be sort of like generally, obviously, I'm sure the word for circle is not circle. I don't know circle in another language, so don't ask me. But, you know, I get circle. But like, I'm talking about like, if someone was like, what's the word for when I'm nice to someone? And you could be like, kindness. But like, how do you draw kindness?
Yeah. And this is like how you get words that can't be translated.
Yeah.
Like,
or like even some things that like, I guess, like you like culturally you can evolve to just like have totally different practices. So there's just no like word for certain stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It is like, how do you I imagine like an Indiana Jones looking figure coming into my tribe, and we're doing like the rain dance ritual where we pour soup on the chieftain
Right.
after we win the cricket Super Bowl, and we have to explain that.
Well, and that's actually how like the Super Bowl got started. That's where that word comes from. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're never gonna believe where the McDonald's bowl came from.
No.
And the Duracell Bunny bowl or whatever.
I don't know, man.
The Rolls Bowl, that's a little bit easier to understand. It's like we all
Just
have seen one of
roses
those.
at someone.
Yeah.
Hey, they hurt. They have spikes on them. That could be bad.
You don't want to be the coach of the Duracell Bunny Bowl. Everyone's throwing D batteries at you.
I would say they only use D's. Also, it's no like AAA like flat C battery type shit that don't weigh a lot. It's all D's, and they're heavy.
I mean, the AAA's, you gotta be careful. They could poke your eye out if you're not careful. You know.
I guess I was thinking more of like they dump a Gatorade cooler filled with said substance onto the coach, but instead of it being Gatorade, it's just a thing of D batteries.
Yeah.
I don't know. That would hurt.
Using batteries as bullets, that might be a good idea.
Write that one down.
Just a side note.
Hey, U.S. government, we've got a really good idea for you.
It's called the battery gun, and it's killing millions of people in Myanmar every day.
It could be like that gun in Enter the Gungeon that's just a big battery that shoots lightning out of it.
Yeah. Or the barrel.
But I guess
that
kind of
shoots
like the opposite.
fish.
That game's so awesome.
It's called the fish machine gun. And it's making
a
PETA
machine gun
very mad.
His wife Lois is complaining so much.
The United I feel like this is an article that we would see today. Donald Trump has recently approved the bill for new gun manufacturing technology. And he's like, I want a gun that shoots.
I'd like a gun that shoots.
I'd like a gun that shoots.
I'm going to take all of the immigrants that ICE has collected up and I'm going to put them in a barrel. It's going to be called the Big Beautiful Gun. And it's going to shoot them all out. It's going to be quite big, very large. And I'm going to collect all the immigrants and put them in a barrel. And it'll shoot them out as if they were bullets.
It will be powerful enough to send them over the wall that they paid for.
Right over the wall that they paid for.
The Mexicans personally paid for it, which was nice of them to do.
They actually offered. That was the thing, too, that was crazy about it. They were like, we would love this. Please stay away.
Yeah.
Which at this point, I wouldn't blame them if they did. How did anyone ever think that was going to... Whatever. Hey, guys, I'm getting a new car, and I'm making my parents pay for it. You said no? What do you mean you said no?
Yeah.
Whatever,
I mean,
man.
just the concept of the wall is, like, dumb to begin with.
Right.
Like, the wall doesn't stop anybody.
No. If you were going to get over illegally, you were going to get over anyway.
Yeah. You would have
also, it's just
took a boat through the Gulf of
waste.
Mexico, man.
Yeah, right. That people aren't sneaking through the fence and being like, well, no one saw me. Or I guess maybe they are. But not as many people are sneaking through the fence and being like, haha, got him.
Dude, wouldn't it be so fucking funny if the fence was, like, big enough to, like, shimmy through? Like, they spent all this damn money on the wall.
Yeah, it would. They just, like, didn't have enough concrete. They were like, all right, we're going to have to leave this one section just, like, there's just a little bit of a crack in it. But, like,
yeah.
You know, it should be fine.
That's so good, dude.
Suddenly there are hundreds of thousands of people. And also, like, concrete, you can't recycle that shit. Not that they care, but, like, you know, it's kind of bad for the environment. We shouldn't build a giant wall out of concrete. Especially because, like, then whatever government is put in place after Trump is just going to be like, hey, guys, let's take the wall down. And then what the fuck are we going to do with all the concrete?
Well, but walls are expensive to remove, though.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the Berlin Wall. That stood for a while.
That's true. Yeah.
And that was in Berlin. So think about that.
Even smaller than the entire southern coast of the United States.
And people got over the wall regularly.
They did.
The wall has never stopped anyone. Even the Great Wall of China.
That one's pretty cool.
I mean, it's a cool wall. There's not much going on, though.
We should go to the Great Wall of China and do a podcast.
I think that's a great idea, unironically. Yeah. Would they let us?
No, probably not.
I guess we could probably find a spot that they don't have guys on the wall, right?
It's a pretty big wall, right?
It's
surely if we walked,
it's the
pretty
biggest
great,
wall
I've heard. I just want to say though, when I went to the
space?
Grand Canyon, I was kind of no, that's actually a myth.
Stupid.
Yeah, tough.
I mean, if you
when I went to the Grand Canyon, I was like, yeah, right. If you zoom in, but like, what are you gonna do with your eyes?
I guess not.
My high fidelity 4K 60 FPS eyes.
Yeah.
With 15 times multi-scopal zoom. It's a word I just made up. Yeah, but I'm sure the wall is great though. But I think do we know? Is it thousands of miles? Does
it's
that
many
sound right?
thousands of kilometers for sure.
Surely one of those kilometers has to be unguarded, right?
You would think so, right? It's not like the
China
North
does
Korea
have a lot of people though.
DMZ, you know what I mean? Like that shit is well guarded, right?
Yeah, that just made me think of the DMV instead though.
Okay. And there's like landmines around that one too.
I'm kind of hoping that the Great Wall of China doesn't contain landmines.
I don't know. I don't think it does. It might have
actually
like
that is a bucket list item
catapults
though. I
and
feel like it'd be
stuff.
so cool to go there.
I would love to go to China.
All right, let's go.
Maybe not like right now, but
And no, I'm not talking like tomorrow. I just mean generally maybe we should go.
you remember that building I sent you where it's like a museum or something? It's like the most beautiful architecture I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
Yes.
And it's like in not like a swamp, but it's like surrounded by water and it's like curvy and weird and it's I don't know what that is, but it's awesome.
Okay, cool. Well, we should go there. Were you saying that because it's in China or you just think it's cool?
I think it's cool and it is in China.
Okay, cool. Well, that's like the important part. You should send me every building that you think is cool, and then we'll go and I'll talk about them.
You don't know how much I would love that.
Okay. Well, let's do it.
I would love to have a tour guide who just takes me around and goes, you see that building? In 1944, there was a guy who fucking shot a firework up his ass and he exploded. I would love that.
And he was in that building.
Yeah.
Isn't it cool? It doesn't even add to the beauty of the building. It's just that such a historic event happened inside of it.
Yeah. It's just like a pub, like a completely normal establishment. Yeah. No, I would love to go there. And you know, China has like some of these beautiful like palaces for like the emperor and shit. Or they don't have an emperor.
Right.
Or do they? I don't know.
They've
got some.
He's got
fancy
emperor-like qualities.
Yeah, but he's like the president or whatever.
Right.
Dude, I want to go
actually,
see...
you know what? I didn't even tell you about this.
What?
But before we move on from China. So when I was in Japan, I went to the expo. And I guess I just didn't really go into the expo. It's like a big... I'm just going to call it the World's Fair because that's essentially what it is.
It's like the car show.
Kind of, yeah. But instead of showing off cars, each country that's like present at the expo, I don't remember how many out of the 196 countries in the world there was, but it was like at least 110 probably.
Sure.
And so I went to China's pavilion, and so each like country will like, you know, they design a pavilion and they propose it and then they build it and whatever. And all of them are like arranged in this giant I guess maybe it's different every year, but this one, or not that it happens every year, but whenever they do it, this one was in Osaka in Japan. And China's pavilion was like super beautiful, like a giant wooden building. And like halfway through, we all just like stopped and they showed this video that was just like, this is the day in the life of an average Chinese citizen. And it was like probably the closest thing I think I've ever seen in modern times to just being propaganda.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome. They were like, everyone wakes up at exactly like 7 a.m. And each hour of the day was like called something else.
It's like an Ashton Hall. In the middle of get ready with
yes,
me video.
It was exactly like that.
That's awesome.
In the middle of the day, it was like, you know, at around 1 p.m., everyone takes a break and goes home for 2 hours to be with their family. And this hour is like these 2 hours are called the family hours, where we all spend time together. But then like there would be like just little peaks where it'd be like, and at 7 p.m. we all go and we worship Xi Jinping because he's just awesome and we love him. And I was like,
and we all buy mouth tape from the mouth tape companies. And before we go to bed, we put it over our nose for some reason.
Right. But it was just like so.
And don't forget to buy Chinese war bonds. So
right, yeah, you should. They're good for you. Yeah. So it was just very like I was watching it and I was like, wow, is it really this beautiful? My friend Max and I look at each other like but we should go and we should try and live a day in the life. We should make sure that we take family hour to spend time with our Chinese family.
And we go to one of those markets where we can eat like fried dog and stuff.
Hey, I'll try anything once.
Fried guinea pig. Something like that.
I'll try anything once.
Okay. China is beautiful though. They got mountains and shit,
Yeah.
What's it? Don't they have that one village that's like it looks like here in the U.S. we have like those like native houses where it's like in a canyon or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And it's all like clay and shit. They have like that, but like deep in the mountains.
But like the Chinese equivalent.
And
I want to go.
You can go up to the local
that giant sinkhole
trader, and they have like you can buy mushrooms from them and stuff.
Are they hallucinogenic or just like normal mushrooms?
You can also buy potions of greater healing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never had one of those. We only have the regular ones in the U.S.
Yeah, because of fucking regulations.
PETA.
They won't let you put fucking. They don't want the red 40 in the Gatorade anymore, which is sad because that's what gives it all its flavor.
Color. That's what makes it red. Otherwise, every Gatorade is now just going to be plain Gatorade.
Yeah, it's all going to be piss Gatorade. That's the default Gatorade. That's what they don't tell you. It all looks like piss. No one would drink it if it looked like that, though.
I'm trying. Well, what Gatorade do we think looks the most like piss now? Probably like the lime green,
the green yellow, yeah.
Because I feel like they have like a yellow Gatorade?
I don't
like
think
how
so,
dehydrated
no one
is
would
the
drink
guy
that
at the
shit.
factory? Like, are we talking like is he like Arctic Cherry and it's like sort of like white clear ish?
No,
or is he more
that
like
guy's
lemon
definitely
lime?
not eating well. They don't pay him enough for that shit.
Ooh.
They don't pay him enough to buy like fresh vegetables. No, definitely not.
Guy.
And we can go see that in China while we're there.
You're right, we can. We can see every product we've ever purchased in our entire life where it's manufactured.
That is true.
And that's pretty awesome.
We can see and it'll be beautiful. It's like we're all united type shit. Like where we go into like the clothing factory and we see the Dior purse and the like fucking like garbage poor people purse come out of the same factory line, except one
we see them
has a
come out
logo
of the same
put on it.
factory. Right. And the child who just made it is crying. So we offer and we take him out for some fried dog and guinea pig during our family hour, of course.
Yeah.
And then he gives us a Dior bag as consolation. It'll be cool.
And then in the middle, the giant tornado siren will ring, and we will worship Xi Jinping for a little bit.
Right, yeah. Which is something that, we'd like to do. We do it voluntarily.
I was looking at the Wikipedia page for notable photos recently, which I didn't know it was a Wikipedia page. I was looking for... I forget what photo I originally looked up, and then I went to that Wikipedia page, and then I saw it was like, see other stuff under that section. It was like,
sure, yeah.
view the list of notable photos.
Related photos.
Oh, you know what it was? Okay, this like sucks. It was the photo. I don't know if you know of this photo. I actually don't even know if we should include it in the edit of this. I don't know.
Well, come on.
It's the...
Can you say it without showing it?
Yes, it's the photo of, if you look up Abu Ghraib hooded man, Iraq, U.S. torture, it'll probably come up.
Okay.
And
so this is not a photo that I think I'm aware of.
It's not a fun photo. I think you might have seen it because it's a very famous photo. I mean, it's on the most notable photos list. So I mean,
right. But I think we know that I'm
Times
historically uncultured. Everyone knows this.
Sure. So it's a
It's like
photo.
part of my personality.
It's a photo of this. I assume he's an Iraqi guy, but I don't know. It was when
It'd be kind of weird if he wasn't based on the title of the photo.
it was when George Bush invaded Iraq, and they started capturing people to figure out this whole 9/11 thing.
Right.
And they took people into like these black sites, and they just tortured them, and most of them were civilians, and it was fucked up and it was bad.
Yep. Totally like normal people who had nothing to do with it.
Because one, torture doesn't work, and even if it did work, they had people who were not involved even like remotely, and they knew they weren't involved even remotely. So they just tortured these people like for no reason, presumably. And it's this guy he's standing on a box. He has like a giant black like tarp put over him, like he can't see anything, and he has like electrical wires on his like hands, and it's like
a pretty awesome photo.
It's a truly haunting image.
Right. Why were you looking this up? You can hit me with an I don't know. That's okay.
There's no real defense for I don't know.
and that's okay.
I think I was watching a video essay about something, and then I was just interested in it. And I also remember this photo from something.
I mean, yeah.
You know what? This is a different thing, but a while ago I was listening to this album by this electronic artist called Ottakar, I think is how you say his artist name. And he had his album cover, one of them, I think it's titled Virgins. I might be misremembering though. And that photo is based on the actual photo.
Oh.
But anyway, and then I was also watching a video essay about something.
Yeah, hey, we've all been down the rabbit hole.
But then, so to get us out of this, I was on the list of Wikipedia most notable photos.
Sure.
And this is where I saw the photo of the first underwater photo ever taken. Or not the first photo taken underwater, but the first photo underwater that was like made to be taken underwater. Like it was a special camera specifically for underwater photography. And it's like the hardest photo of all time. Because like back then, they didn't have like Photoshop and shit, you know? So like the way the photo came out was just the way it looks. So it's like this weird dark green sort of tinge. And it's this guy in like sort of like a space suit looking thing. And he's holding like a glowing plaque. And it just looks hard as fuck. I'm not even gonna lie. Like
that's thumbnail right there.
Could be, yeah. I don't know. It was so interesting. That's really all I have to say about it.
I was waiting. I was waiting for you to be like, yeah, the photo was of like, you know, some submarine. Like these people saw like a Leviathan or something right before they died.
No, that'd be dope though. Dude, okay, so this is what you would do if you had Photoshop. You would like superimpose whatever like the big creature is from Subnautica, like behind the guy.
Oh, but there's so many.
But there's like one big one. I don't know what the big one is.
I'm thinking of like the Reaper Leviathan. I think that's the one that has like the four like prongs that stick out of its face.
Yeah. I think that's
I feel like the iconic one from the game, because like you don't have to go that far into
that's like
it
the Ender
to
Dragon.
see it. Yeah, but like there are ones like further in the game that I know of.
Sure.
But I don't remember what all of them are called. And there's like the one that turns invisible and shit.
Mm.
It sounds terrifying. What a genius game idea. The ocean is so freaking scary.
Speaking of the ocean, it's time for everyone's favorite weekly segment.
Yay! I didn't think about that. That was a good transition.
Do you have a fish fact?
I do have a fish fact.
What you
I got alt tab to my fish fact docked. Okay. So anyway, I guess I should. I wrote this a little bit funny. But there is a fish called the Greenland shark. Ooh, Greenland. You know, Greenland is close to the ocean, as I guess most things are. But this species of shark, they found one that lived to be like they can live to be up to 500 years old. Making it the longest living vertebrae on Earth. Some of the sharks that are still like swimming around in the ocean today were born when Leonardo da Vinci was alive.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fucking crazy. and they also they don't reach like their or I guess they shouldn't word it like that. They don't reach like puberty or like sexual maturity until they're like 150 years old.
Type shit.
You know, kind of like me. We're all kind of, you know, that way. But they just have like one of the longest life cycles of any organism on Earth, which I just thought was really cool.
Like tortoises.
Way longer.
But longer.
They also,
I mean, tortoises are the only thing we can like compare to.
I'm gonna give you the tier zoo stat list of the Greenland shark. It kind of sucks ass. Like they don't really move very well, and they don't swim a lot, and they conserve a lot of their energy. But also, like as a trade-off, they live to be 500 years old, and things don't really fuck with them because they're like decently big, and they don't really have a lot of natural predators.
It's like Ganondorf. He's slow, but he packs a punch.
Exactly. But also, the Greenland shark is not like D tier on the ocean tier list.
What tier is it then?
They're probably like a solid like C.
Okay.
Like high C though.
It's just they don't have good options off of recovery, but their middle stage game is like not bad.
Yeah. Well, they just have like a lot of like
their back throw is like low-key OP, but no one really like they're kind of underrated.
But they don't like get to use
way.
It a lot, you know? Yeah, exactly.
It's situational for sure.
Yeah. But they live in like the depths of the Arctic, so nothing really fucks with them.
Yeah. You might have been confused when we said Greenland, but because Greenland is actually full of ice instead of green.
Right. It's true. They named it that on purpose. So genius of them.
The Vikings wanted to confuse Columbus or whatever.
Yep. And then he moved to Ohio and made the Columbus Crew. But yeah, that's my fish fact. Introducing the Greenland shark. They live to be over 500 years old, and they're really cool.
Hold on. Do you hear that? Wah, wah, wah. Red lights, sirens, blaring.
A boss is approaching.
What is that? Is it a challenger is approaching? A new challenger steps into the ring?
What?
I present to you a new weekly segment.
Ooh!
Jackson's pretty poem.
Ooh. You don't have to laugh.
I am laughing because I made it up.
Well,
I'm tired of you having a segment.
It's going to be pretty.
I also want a segment, and this is my segment.
You introduced my segment. I didn't pitch this.
So now I have a segment to compete with you, and you can vote on your phones at home whether or not you prefer.
We should make a website.
Every week we'll have a poll where you can decide what was better, the fish fact or the pretty poem.
You just want to fucking be better than me, don't you?
I was trying to go for alliteration because like fish fact, but I couldn't think of a word for P. A good P
pretty
word.
Poem is good. And also, it's not like Henry's fish fact. My name doesn't start with an F, and your name doesn't start with a P, so it's fine.
But it was like I was stuck on penis for a while. I couldn't really come up with another.
Jackson's penis poem.
Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense though, so it feels a little.
Every poem of the week is phallic in some way. Jackson's phallic poem. Anyway, sorry. I don't mean to. I won't rag on your.
Imagine if I wrote a poem. It's like one of those poems that like the words make like the outline of an image.
Yes.
So I have like a bunch of like one word lines, and then there's like 4 lines at the end that are like 10 words, and it looks like a penis.
And those make up the balls.
Those are the balls of the penis.
That'd be pretty cool.
Maybe this is an idea for future poems. I'll keep that in mind. I'll write that down. Okay, so I decided I had some. I don't. Maybe we'll do this in the future, but I thought about writing my own poem, and I thought about getting a well-known poem from someone who actually knows how to write poems.
Like Shel Silverstein.
Like Shel Silverstein. And I thought it would be more swag and dope if I wrote my own poems. And it gives me the chance to flex my muscles. So that's what I'm going to do. But maybe in the future we'll have like it's like a celebrity it's like the celebrity free throw, you know?
Yeah, we'll get like Edgar Allan up in here.
Yeah. Okay, so this one, I'm going to write a poem every week. That's what the segment is going to be. And you're going to have to sit through it.
Okay.
So this one is called...
I'll act like it's going to be really hard for me.
Yeah, I mean, it might be. I don't know.
I feel like it probably won't.
When I bring out the penis poem,
no, that'll be awesome.
It might be a little bit more difficult to not laugh.
Well, sure, but that's a funny poem.
Well, I mean, this is my art, though, so it's like it's kind of disrespectful in a way.
Right.
I'll read my poem.
So would you like to? Yeah, please present your art to us.
This one is called Barefoot. Clear my voice twice in a row for no reason.
Here, I got you.
This one is called Barefoot. I step out onto the swampland. The bullfrog growls sighs of relief. Colonies of moss tell stories to their friends. A dragonfly makes its bed. When I step out onto the swampland, cascades of gray and green, broken Camaros become new. One single line becomes a view. I think about stepping out onto the swampland. An oaky timbre leaves voicemails in groups of 3. Forgotten then remembered. Shallow tides turn greater bends. Freed but kept, severed memories duck later trends. When I think about stepping out onto the swampland, arms are grabbed, begging for a plea. When I step out onto the swampland, dancing pebbles find a whispering key.
That ending was bars. One moment.
Yeah.
Define Camaros.
Camaro like the car.
Oh, that is what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I was thinking that in my mind, and I was like, Henry, you're such an idiot, man. All you can think about is cars. So thank you for saying something, because I was like, I'm not understanding your art form here. No, I'm imagining stepping out onto the swampland and it being filled with Camaros, but apparently it is, so that's fine.
I appreciate your attempt to understand my truth.
Of course, man.
And I guess that was this, I don't know what question. Yes?
Can I ask you a question about the poem?
Yeah.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
1, what is it called when a poem does or does not end in rhymes?
Iambic pentameter.
Bars. Is that what? Well, sorry. Is that when it does only end in lines that rhyme, or if it ends in lines that don't rhyme?
That's actually like a specific scheme. It's like that's
no,
like,
yeah, isn't
iambic pentameter
like
is like
in
specific. I just wanted to use like a poetry jargon word. That's like when I think Shakespeare
Isn't it
does a lot of iambic pentameter. It's something about syllables or whatever. Yeah, I don't know the answer to your question. I have no idea.
Okay, fair enough. You impressed me there. I fully believed you. I was like, all right, cool. And then I was like, wait, that actually was one answer to 2 questions.
I think prose is like when it's prose, it's like sort of free form. Like there's no real structure. I don't know. Yeah. I don't give a shit about any of that.
No, that's fine. I was just curious because you're the one who wrote the poem, so I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
And 2, was there anything specific that inspired? Like, what inspired you to write about being in the swamp? Or you just want to write about like for me, if the poem is called Barefoot, that immediately, for some reason, I guess, sort of immediately evoked in me the idea of like
being barefoot,
stepping on different surfaces in my bare feet.
Yeah,
mostly grass and pebbles, which you talked about a lot. But
and
like,
moss.
Is there anything that and moss
and bullfrogs, which you don't really want to slip on?
I would not want to step on a bullfrog. I think it would die, or or worst case, be hurt, and then I would slip, and then we would both be hurt, and that would be a double negative.
That'd be bad.
But yeah, what inspired you to write this poem?
What
were you going for? I guess
the way I do everything, and this isn't really going to give you a nice answer. The way I do everything in my life, when it comes to like writing specifically, like actual words, or like when I'm doing music stuff, it's always title first, and then everything comes after. I can't start something until I have a title. I find it like literally impossible.
Okay.
So if I just get a title, I don't really know where Barefoot came from. I don't know. As long as the title is good, then everything else sort of like follows.
Okay.
So I don't know.
All right,
It's not doesn't really answer your question, but
no, I think that was fine. I started off my like statement with being like barefoot makes me think of this and this, and then you talked about both of those things in the poem. So also, based on your Instagram story from earlier, I need you to show me whatever the fuck you were working on in that screenshot.
I could show you that after. Yeah, I was for.
Yeah, that would be great. I would appreciate that.
This is in my close friends story. I posted a screenshot. I've been doing a lot of stuff in this program called VCV Rack, which is stupid nerd shit. VCV Rack is okay. So synthesizers exist. We're aware of this. Yes.
Yes.
There's different kinds of synthesizers. So like the one I have behind me is a hardware. It's not analog, but it's a digital emulation of an analog synthesizer. Analog is like when you have like when Robert Moog invented the synthesizer as we know it today. He was like working with like circuit boards, and it was like in these big boxes and shit, right? And all the boxes talk to each other, and that's how the sounds are made. I'm skipping a lot of details.
They do cool shit.
And they do cool stuff, and you could make them go wow, 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 right? And so that's like just analog synthesis. And then there's modular synthesis. Modular synthesis is when, there are these different components that make a synthesizer do the sounds that it does. Modular is when you buy all of the modules separately and you do the routing yourself. Like when you buy a hardware synthesizer, the routing is like done for you. Like you don't have to do shit with like wires or circuit boards or whatever. But modular is like you have the thing that makes the noise and you have to route that sound to other stuff. So that the noise
makes it more customizable, but obviously less.
It's less intuitive.
Less simple to
The workflow is certainly not as easy as like having a keyboard and just pressing some keys and then going, what if this was louder, and you turn a knob and it's louder.
What if the funk was turned up to a 9 instead of a 3?
Yes. So you have to make and also modular synthesis doesn't usually use a keyboard. Most of it is like generative. So you kind of let the computer do most of the work in that sense. Like you aren't really, like you get a module that like quantizes pitch information into the key that you want the music to be in. It's not like you pressing the keys that are in the key. Yeah. If that makes sense. And VCV Rack is a digital emulation of this form of modular synthesis, which is usually called Euro Rack, which is where you have like literally a rack and you put a bunch of modules on the rack.
That sounds cool.
And I didn't think I was going to be that into it. And it like sucks how awesome it is.
I was waiting for you to say something along those lines because I was like, there were a lot of modules that I saw you hook up.
And there were a lot of wires.
There's a lot of wires.
And it's like, it's so interesting because you only need like a very basic understanding to like I understand what's going on, but it's like you can do some crazy stuff and I didn't even like realize. Like you can sort of like certain modules are made for certain things, but you can make them do so much other stuff. And there's so many like weird modules, and it's all like open source in VCV Rack, which is really cool. Or a lot of it is open source, and a lot of it's also free. And a lot of the free stuff is also like 1-to-1 clones of like actual hardware that you can buy. So that's pretty cool. You can do like the really cool expensive hobby that requires you to have
tons of money,
like the price of like a used car to like even get started.
And you just do it online for free.
And you can do it on your desktop for free, which is really cool.
That is pretty dope.
And if you wanted to like contribute to like, oh, I don't like maybe what if the module did this? Then you can like go to the GitHub page and you can like maybe talk to the guy who made it and be like, what if we made it did this?
How do I,
And then maybe you can help write the code to make it do that thing. And then and then everyone has access to that. You just press the damn update button. It's beautiful. It's awesome.
That is pretty fucking cool.
And I've just fallen so deep. Every night I'm up until like 3 a.m, like watching YouTube videos by like a German guy who gets like 2,000 views.
That's how you know you found a good hobby, though.
Yeah, I think so. But it's just been interesting, I guess. I don't know.
Cool.
But I'll show you that later.
Yeah, I just remember seeing it being like, I need to know what the fuck this is.
I actually did something that I think you'll find really cool in that patch, but I don't want to. We'll talk about that later.
Don't tell me now.
Oh man, it's been an awesome week. You know,
Good.
That's the donut of my heart. You know,
the synthesizer.
Yeah. It's been the donut of my heart of the past week and 3 weeks also.
Good.
I know what the donut of your heart is in the past week.
It's been a really bad week, so I don't.
And there's one good thing that like happened recently that I could point to.
And what is that?
I know you're a big fan, bro. Zohran, he got his nomination or whatever.
Am I just having like the world's largest brain fart right
Zohran Mamdani, bro? Come on.
Yeah, there was one pretty good I thought you meant like directly in my life. Yeah, it's been pretty cool.
No, that's direct to your life, you know? You
I don't live in New York City.
Yeah.
I do, yeah. I actually, I don't think there's... I'm not going to say there's nowhere that I'd rather live less, but part of the reason that I don't want to live in New York City is because, you know, he's not the mayor. But if he was, maybe I would move there.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty big. And then Andrew Cuomo was so fucking salty that he was like, "Hey guys, I'm actually still going to run, but I'll be independent because everyone knows that I'm so cool and awesome."
Everyone loves that I sexually harassed 11 women or whatever.
Yeah.
And that makes me a prime candidate for the mayor of New York City.
I mean, you can't be a political figure without
some
having
scandal.
So many corruption scandals against you.
Eric Adams is great at this.
Unless you're Zohran Mamdani. He's actually so fucking cool, man.
It is strange. Like, one, that's like the only thing that I've ever seen you post on. If we're talking about Instagram stories, it's the only thing I've ever seen you post that's like political in any way, which is interesting. I was like,
really?
This motherfucker doesn't even live in the state of New York, man. Why is he reposting this shit?
I just think it's a win and a good example of what our country could be like.
No, I agree.
Even though it will never be that way. I'm glad that New York is. Well, I guess he could still not win. We don't know. He just won the Democratic candidacy, but
yeah, he still has to beat Eric Adams in the election in November.
Still a big step up.
Yeah, I think I don't think Eric Adams is going to win, but he has such a low approval rating. It's like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like nobody likes him, but I also thought the same thing about this guy.
Yeah.
And my big beautiful gun.
I do agree. I think like it should be sort of like a wake up call for the Democrats to be like, oh, this guy like did this strategy and it like really worked for him.
Yeah, they're really sucking ass right now,
so
like
maybe
across the board generally.
Yeah.
We had a lot of really good political talks in the car on my trip this past weekend, which was awesome. My stepdad was like, Henry, I mean, think about it. If you made like $500,000 a year, would you want to give all of that to the government? And I was like, no, but I would give like most of it. He was like, you would? And I was like, yeah.
But the good thing is that Zohran Mamdani isn't gonna tax you unless you make over $1 million. So actually, doesn't even matter. I think it's
like pretty. I know he was like. I was like, well, I think it really only applies to like the hyper rich people playing. He's like, okay, well, if you use a hyperbole, of course the argument just goes flying out the window. And I was like, I mean, really, the hyperbole is actually all that you need because if you make under $1 million, like, yeah, who fucking cares?
The hyperbole is
you can make that much
rule.
Money.
The fact is 1% of Americans have 80% of the wealth.
Well, which is funny because then he proceeded like an hour later in our conversation to say that as a complaint, to be like, yeah, can you believe that the top 1% of Americans control 80% of the wealth? And I was like, yeah, isn't that crazy? Also, I do think Elon Musk is a bad guy. And he was like, but think about like how he got like, electric cars in the public consciousness. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess that was good, but also, someone else who isn't evil could have done that.
Did you see the video? Because they just put the Tesla self-driving taxi cabs or whatever into Austin. Like they're running now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the first day of them being operational, there's a
How many people
video.
died?
0,
Okay,
to my
that's pretty good.
knowledge, at least.
That's a good metric.
The first day of it being out, though, I saw a video where it's someone in the back seat. So like, there's like an employee in the front seat, like making sure, and they have like a kill switch. So if the car like decides to explode on its own or whatever. But there's a video of someone in the back seat. They're in the Tesla. It's doing the self-driving, and it's just. Luckily, there's no cars in the other lane, but it just veers far over the double yellow line. And it's going like, when you turn the wheel really fast back and forth so it like swerves a bit, it's doing that.
Well, yeah, that's like a very
it's crazy because
necessary move.
It's under like literally no, like if it was like a high stakes situation and there's like a lot of information and it's like moving really fast, I would understand if the computer like messed up, right? But like this is like literally there are no other cars moving than this Tesla. All it has to do is drive forward and stop in front of the car that's at the stoplight. And it just is swerving. It goes in the other lane. If I was in the car and that was my POV, I'm worried for sure.
Yeah, I'd be frightened, I think is maybe one of the words that I would use to describe my situation. That's crazy.
And it's crazy that that's like out in... And you can run into them in Austin, Texas now, Yeah,
with your car, you could run into them.
Or maybe they could run into you, and they probably
could
will.
run into you, you could run into them, who knows?
So
I mean, it's like, like we have Waymo.
Sure.
Like, I mean, I guess not
and Waymo has problems
presently.
too, right?
Like,
this isn't
like
specifically a Tesla issue.
But the big thing with Tesla is that, like, for some reason, they are so gung-ho on being like, we don't want you to know that it has to be very well integrated with the car, and like it shouldn't, like Waymo obviously has like all of the like LiDAR sensors and all the motion detect like on the outside of the car.
It has like a big thing on the top of the car.
And it's to be fair, they're huge, but like I feel like for the purpose of transport, like who fucking cares? But Tesla's like, yeah, guys, you're never gonna know that all of that technology is just like baked in there. And I'm like, that's cool. But I feel like we're not to the point where that technology is that small and that efficient yet.
To me, it's kind of like saying, you're never going to know that the safety features on the roller coaster exist. I actually kind of want to know that they're there.
I'd like to be aware that they're there. I love looking at my steering wheel and being like, oh, there's an airbag.
That the guy puts my seatbelt on when I get in the roller coaster. Like,
you won't even know that your seatbelt is on.
Yeah.
It might not be on. We're not sure.
Tesla, take out a loan for this.
Yep. I mean, to be fair, like they are great. Like they're the most popular I've ever seen them be. I see them everywhere all the time.
Sure, yeah.
But like, I don't really know that I would say that that's like a huge net positive for the Earth.
What do you mean?
Like I don't like the offset of manufacturing those cars is still not like way more than
sure, but we have to get there
like
somehow,
a regular car, but we do have to get there,
which sucks. It's also weird to me that like there's Tesla and there's Waymo, and Waymo has like all the technology that seems like it would make the car like better at doing the whole self-driving thing, which is like the whole point. It's very like Tesla's strategy for some reason is to just use cameras and like get enough data, because it's like just a software update that they can push. And if they push the update to everyone's fucking car, and they have 1 million cars out there, then they like get so much training data, and they're just assuming that having so much training data will just make the car like better than humans at driving. So much so where they don't need to take the route that Waymo is doing with like developing the expensive technology slowly and then pushing it out slowly and like being more careful about stuff. But it doesn't make any damn sense to me, man.
Well, it's also like it's sort of two different products. Like Waymo is like they don't make cars. No. Waymo doesn't make vehicles. They just slap all their tech onto a Jaguar I-Pace, and everyone's like, "Cool."
I imagine that's the end goal, though. No,
I have no idea. I think it actually makes more. I like I think I'd like Waymo more as a concept than I do turning the car that you already have into a self-driving car. At least for now.
Yeah.
Like I think the idea, I don't know. Like the idea, like Waymo to me, I'm gonna restart. The ultimate form of public transportation, no matter what, will always be trains.
Yeah.
They
we're not
don't take
gonna
up a lot of,
in the U.S. We're not gonna get there, so
we're never gonna get
we
there.
might as well
It's gonna
start
take,
with the cars.
but that's what I'm saying. So if we could somehow use all of the infrastructure that already exists for cars
Yeah.
to turn trains into cars, or to turn cars into trains, like that is at least sort of like fine, I guess.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah.
it's not the best option, but we're getting closer, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And Waymo, like turning those into like Tesla at the end of the day is still selling like a product that I guess is like turning into a service. Like by making it into a self-driving car, it's like I have a taxi.
Yeah, the plan
But,
is to
like,
make
I
it
don't have
so
to-
like the
It's like-
car can be a taxi like while you're at work, and it's like you're on your Russell type shit at the same
I
time
meant more of
as
like-
you're at your job.
It's like yeah, I guess it could be like a second. Like I
I mean,
own
that's how
the
it's been
car, so I
pitched
can
previously.
really.
In some, yeah, I've seen that for sure.
I guess I never thought about that. I mean, that like makes sense. I guess it's like make money for you.
Yeah.
But also, if we just had, like, if there were enough Waymos out there that were just like good modes of public transport, and it was like, hey, there's a Waymo that can pick you up here in, 2 minutes. Like, it's just like having like automated taxis everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I think adding the personal element into it, and it's like, yes, I have ownership over this car, so it can just take me wherever I need, whenever I want to use it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like that, the aspect of like owning something is good and better, I guess. But I think if it was more like not necessarily controlled by the government, but if there was like some entity, for example, Waymo, that like just put out a service, and it was like, hey, we have 100,000 Waymo taxis in this city that you can use to, and like all of them speak to each other. Like, I feel like Tesla is trying to use the software to make their cars just like into taxis, but like having the element of it also being like a personal ownership thing makes it difficult, I think. Whereas like if they were all owned by Waymo, I feel like it would make it easier for all the vehicles to communicate to each other, and like it would be easier to make a system. Whereas like if all of the cars are each individually used, like in Tesla, for example, if all the cars are individually used by whoever bought the car, it's more difficult to make like a unified transport system.
Yes. I see what you're
if
saying.
that makes sense.
Like you're saying Waymos are more fitted to be like sort of a replacement for like public buses and things like that. And because Tesla's also sort of going like for that angle of like it's going to help like a lot of people do transportation more efficient generally, because you could use it as like a taxi. But because the car is owned by somebody, it makes like that relationship kind of weird.
Yes, because there's no like overarching like.
But doesn't Tesla also want to do like the bus thing as well? Like they revealed that at like the one big presentation a while back, right? Where they had like the big like sort of sleek bus that like it had like 3 or 4 rows or whatever.
I mean, I think that would be cool.
I don't know. I mean, who knows if that'll ever come out.
Right. I'm still waiting for the Roadster. That was supposed to come out in 2016.
Yeah.
This car can do 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. It's the only car that's ever done that. And like, sure, it doesn't really exist yet, but we're thinking that it can.
It does that in theory, and if we know anything about Einstein's theories, it's that they're true. So this one is as well.
And we made a render of it, and it looks real. So
yeah, it is also crazy. I think in this moment to be like, Elon has this thing of like he keeps saying, "Oh, it'll be a year, it'll be 2 years." We're thinking 2026 or whatever. And then this actually happened. Like they're out like right now, and it's like more real than it's ever been. And that it continues to be more and more real every day, which is crazy.
Like I think it could be a great, because like me, I love cars.
Yeah.
Like I think cars are super cool. But like as a system of transport. I get like for efficiency, I guess, solely for like I think I love cars as a hobby, but I will always be an advocate for like better public transport.
Yeah.
And I think if we could somehow, like, yeah, I know that a lot of people would lose out on it becoming like a personal thing. But I think if we could somehow take like cars again and just like use the existing infrastructure, like I like what Tesla is going for as a brand.
Yeah.
I don't love Elon Musk. I think he sucks.
Yeah.
But the idea of
Plus
like
2 to that.
having a network that allows all the vehicles to communicate and sort of like interact with each other in a way that just leads to like better efficiency and safety for people, I think is really good.
From my point of view, it doesn't feel like they're ever going to get there though, because I mean, for a lot of reasons, but like mainly because if like you want to get past like the regulation and shit. And the only reason they're able to put the cars out now is because like it's in Texas and Texas is fucked up. And there was a bill that was like, Tesla, you cannot do this. We like made a law, you can't do it. And then they just did it anyway. They just didn't give a shit, and nothing is like.
They're like, we're gonna charge you like $40 million, and they were like, all right, so if we pay that, can we do it?
Yeah, it's like this
like,
weird,
well,
like
I guess
it's just the price to do business of like the price of breaking the law. It's interesting.
It's pretty awesome,
but like, I don't think they're ever gonna get to the point where they can do that. Like from a technological standpoint, it doesn't make sense to me because they're only using their ideas that the cameras are just as good as like human eyes at detecting like how to drive a car, when it doesn't have to be as good as humans. It has to be like better than humans. So we have to give it more information than that. And it's like no more apparent to me than just using the example of like, what if it's foggy? And then the Tesla sees fog. How does it know what speed to go?
How does it communicate?
How does it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't, fog just ruins it. And Waymo's LiDAR technology just absolutely destroys fog because it has lasers that detects like distance of things, and it creates like a real-time 3D map. It's like that technology is clearly more like that is the future, man.
I mean, like, and it exists already and is like very capable. Like I have a 2017 like not top of the line Toyota RAV4, and it also has like depth sensing that works through fog. Like the technology is there. If they were just like, yeah, fine, I guess we'll implement it into our cars, like it would be super easy to do that.
But Elon is aiming for this like cheaper,
very sleek,
like mass produced sort of version of like getting this out, which it just doesn't make any sense to me, man.
Yeah. I mean, I get why they would do it from a business perspective, but then it just turns it instead from, you know, being like I want to make the world a better place and make it more accessible to being like, I want to turn profit for the shareholders because maximizing shareholder value is what I live for.
If the future cannot be a business position, you know what I mean?
That needs to go on a, that's like, that needs to be on a poster somewhere.
When the Wright brothers invented the first flying machine, they weren't like, how can we get this to every farmer in America? They just like wanted to do it to do it. Which is what needed to happen for it to be the way that it is now, I think. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. And
I
think
maybe someone else
Elon
other than
should live on Little St. James Island or whatever.
I wonder what it would look like if someone else was in charge of Tesla. I think
it looks like Waymo. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like,
but I mean, like with, you know, with the power obviously that Tesla holds, like they are the electric car company over anyone else.
Yeah, like with the resources to like make a car. Like,
yeah, I guess that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Waymo is cool, I think, but there's a reason that they only exist on like the West Coast. Like they just don't have the resources to. Well, I mean, one, I'm sure it's also like a legal thing as well, but they just don't have the resources to, you know, pull them out across the entire country.
Yeah, that's just expensive, man.
They also just picked like such a bad car to put all their stuff on.
It's probably the only one they could get like a contract with or whatever, right?
I mean, I'm sure, but it's just like, I don't know why they would pick. I'm sure that there is a reason. Like the car that they use is the Jaguar I-Pace, but it's just like
maybe it's aerodynamic.
Jaguar's not. No.
Maybe it's
it's pretty big.
Yeah.
Like look at that. It has a lot of space and it's electric.
Sure.
But like, you know,
I don't know.
It's whatever. I'm sure there's a reason for it, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah. And the cool thing is that we're smarter than all of the people actively solving these problems.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is why the solution is so simple. It's Elon Musk needs to be put on a plane to Little St. James Island, and they should turn that island into a jail. It's like the new Alcatraz for all the fucked up people.
And then they make them, yeah.
We get all the fucked up people. It's Elon and Ghislaine Maxwell, and they're hanging out and they're having a great time. And honestly,
and all they do is play chess.
And they play. Well, Elon doesn't like chess. He thinks the game is limited. There's a tweet where Elon was like, I find chess too elementary. No fog of war, no real-time strategy, or something like that. It's a famous tweet, which is funny because, like, you know, there's more possible chess games than there are, like, atoms in the universe or whatever. But
yeah,
I guess he's just, like, better than all that.
I'll say it. I don't like playing chess because I'm bad at chess.
Instead, he'll just...
I haven't put in the time to be good. But I guess instead I should just tweet that.
Just pays a guy to play Path of Exile 2 for him or whatever.
Yep. And then he logs on and streams and is like, guys, I'm so good at this game.
And he dies to like the like second boss in the game or whatever, even though he has like all the highest level gear and shit.
Best gear. Yep.
It's so funny.
But don't worry, he's just figuring it out.
Can you imagine if like fucking... I can't even think of like a...
There's nothing comparable.
No, there really isn't. Like, if I said something like fucking... What if Tens got on like fucking Kirby Golf and he was like, I'm the best at this game. And it wasn't, and the game, it was just like him streaming and the game is playing on the screen, but his arms are like behind his back.
Right. So guys, I've never been better at this game. And he's sitting like this.
Yeah, I actually, and the cool thing, guys, is that like I make millions of dollars and I have a car company and I do aerospace, and I'm also really good at Kirby Golf, which makes me cool and relatable to do.
Also, I'm gonna complain about this for 1 second. One more thing, talking about, I guess we weren't even talking about politics. My stepdad was just talking about Elon Musk. And he was like, I just don't want to immediately assume that he's evil. And I was like, that's fine if you don't want to assume that. He was like, I mean, think about SpaceX and like what, you know, he's done for aviation. And I was like, you worked for NASA. Why are you defending him?
NASA is a lot more like, I don't know what righteous, maybe that's not the right word, but they,
I feel like there's like a better, like reputable source of information on space.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was funny. That's it. I just wanted to touch on it. I was like, are you serious? Why? Anyway.
Also, I don't think we have to assume he's a good guy. I think we have all the information we need to determine whether or not he's a good guy.
Well, it was like he played this episode of a podcast, and I don't remember what it's called, but I will look it up and send it to you, I guess. And it was like a very interesting podcast. I would love to listen
to it, actually.
It was actually really interesting. I think you would enjoy it. But it was talking about like what makes someone evil, and like how like labeling something as evil immediately dismisses. Like you can just be like, oh, that person's evil, and then you're like done thinking about them because you've just immediately assumed that their notions are bad.
Yeah, this is like the whole thing with like birds aren't real, right? It was like
yes.
It was doing a satire of like conspiracy theories, and it's like this case study of like, if people just think you're stupid, then they just like give the conspiracy theorists hate, and the conspiracy theory sort of like breeds and becomes like its own weird thing. It's also why like, you know, taking Alex Jones off of Twitter like doesn't really solve the issue either.
Yeah.
Because they just funnel you into like the website where you buy pharmaceutical products that like don't work.
Yeah.
And they're like, buy my awesome book that talks about why 1984 is actually wrong and stuff like that. And that's how you get people
and,
like
and
Ayn Rand.
Yes.
So,
but the podcast episode talks about, so it talks about like what it means to be evil, and it uses I'm trying to, I think Fritz Haber, something
like that.
Fritz Haber. Yeah, he invented the Haber process, which synthesizes ammonia from the air and nitrogen and whatever.
Fire.
and which is cool. I mean, it was like a huge technological innovation at the time, and it was supposed to be like, hey, Germany is starving, and we have like 20 million people dying of hunger every year, and we just need a way to get nitrogen into the soil and into the seeds of food to help it grow faster, which
Right.
he did do. And my stepdad was like, isn't that so cool and awesome that he did that? And then the podcast like carries on, and it talks about how then like World War II happened. Or I guess actually he died right before World War II. In World War One, Fritz Haber was like in charge of like a bunch of gas attacks on like enemy nations and whatever, and he killed like thousands of people.
Sure.
His wife ended up leaving him and being like, hey, I think, or actually, I guess not leave it. Well, she did physically leave.
She left his
but
plane.
she was like, I think what you're doing is horrible, and I cannot believe that you like don't see the irony in, you know, like killing off all of these people using the method that you just used to save like, you know, millions of people in our country. And he's like, yeah, I don't really care. So she kills herself.
Dope.
And that like it just goes through his life story about how like his his life, like he invented something that saved so many people, and then he was a Jewish scientist, and then his, you know, process of these gas attacks eventually ended up being used like in the Holocaust by Hitler. And so there's just like a huge cycle of irony going on. And I'm not really explaining the whole thing, but you know, listen to the podcast, it's good. But essentially at the end, my stepdad was like, you know, like so he still like the world is technically a better place. Like he saved more people than he killed.
Sure.
And he was like, so the world is still like it's still a net positive because of this guy. And my grandma and my mom and I are still like, yeah, no, I still think he's a bad guy. I was like, what? I was like, because you could have just like invented the Haber process of like harvesting this nitrogen, using it for agriculture and saving people from starvation. And then you could have stopped and been like, this is, I'm good. I'm done. That was my life's work. But then instead, he was like, I have so much pride in my country, Germany, that I want to prove that we're the best ever, and I'd like to kill people. And then he does.
If I could compare the Holocaust for a moment to Mr. Beast in a way, it's sort of like...
I haven't said anything yet. I'm parsing my lips. Carry on.
It's sort of like how... It's sort of like he makes these videos where it's like, we helped 1,000 kids walk again.
Right.
And then he also does the thing where he makes like the AI thumbnail tool that steals all of YouTubers' thumbnails. And it's AI and it's bad.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have brought this up.
I don't know that it maybe compares to
not in severity,
the Holocaust,
but in
but like
practice.
Yeah, well, also like Fritz Haber, he died before the Holocaust.
Yes,
like he died, I think, in like 34. I want to say.
What I'm trying to say is like
but like
we can do good things and bad things, and it doesn't cancel. It's not a math equation. Like they both exist at the same time, and we have to take them both into account. This is the same thing that Einstein was like. He thought a lot about this. Like he helped make the fucking big bomb or whatever. And then he also wrote to the president, and he was like, "Hey, I know I made this big bomb, but like we probably shouldn't do that."
Yeah.
And then they dropped the damn bomb. They actually dropped 2 of them. It was kind of crazy.
Yep, they did it anyway. Actually.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting conversation. He was like, you know, like, so does that really make him evil? And all of us were like, yeah, I think it does. Yep.
Yeah. If you do something evil, that's bad. Actually,
I think that's bad. Yeah. I think like killing people and being aware that you're doing it is still bad.
I think actual real comparison is like fucking Mao Zedong, who like, you know, enslaved all of China to like build a big wall, and they like got a lot of infrastructure done, right? And it was like big. Like we can say that through the projects that he initiated through his leadership, it improved a lot of people's lives in some measurable way. Like there's more infrastructure to live life in China because of Mao Zedong.
That is true.
Made a lot of people work in horrible conditions, and he killed millions of people.
Lots of them. Yep.
And we can say that, like, you know, China is like whatever. This is stupid because like we're treating like China as like the country as a person, which is like weird. But like we can say like China, quote unquote, is like a better place because of like this infrastructure projects that they had so many years ago that allowed a bunch of other stuff to happen. Like China was more modernized and like more united in some way. I think there's an argument to say that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that like all the other stuff he did is just like
all the people that like died
because
and
it
worked in those
was
horrible
like a
conditions
worthy
and,
cause when we could have gotten the same result without all of the bad stuff.
Right.
If we had just taken our time a little bit. And like, you know,
what do you mean? I think it makes him a good guy.
Maybe thought through some things and stuff like that.
Right. If we acted like not,
and it doesn't matter how many times Mao Zedong swims in the Yangtze River or whatever. Okay, he's not a people's man.
No,
he's not like you. He's not like me. He's like Elon Musk, I guess, is the moral of the story. Speaking of which, what did we learn today?
Oh, okay. We learned that I still think Elon Musk is evil.
He's still bad. Nothing has changed on that front.
Yep. I think
we learned about sharks.
We learned about the Greenland shark. They live a long time.
Long time. Like tortoises.
I wouldn't want to live to be that long. Almost like tortoises.
We learned that chicken wings are good for you to have.
They are.
Either way.
And they don't contain bug armor.
That's right. Some of them.
But if they did, they might be better.
We could get a mutant chicken wing that has bug armor and also is self-driving. We could have that.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
And it would be cool.
It might be cool. And on that note, I guess, I don't know.
I think that's what I learned.
I don't know how to end this. Yeah.
That's okay. All right. See you guys.
All right.